The bear stalked young little Aubrey as the girl played in the sandbox near the edge of the woods in their home in Upper Michigan. The parents realized the girl went missing. The bear wrapped its jaws around her little neck and dragged her into the thicket. The parents run outside. Aubrey! Aubrey, where are you? Help! With no answer. Then, in the distance, they see the glowing red eyes and the husky body of a black bear with their daughter's skinny little ankle in its mouth. It was dragging her away into the woods, and it vanished like a phantom in the night. What's up, guys and gals? Iceman here. Welcome to Chilling Tales. Appreciate you all for coming by. Like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get the word out there. This channel has been absolute fire. Thank you to my patrons and channel members. Links in the description below if you want to support the Chilling Tales. So this one happened in my very state of Michigan, not far from Traverse City. Now, I visited Traverse City just a couple years ago, and I'm telling you right now, there are black bears everywhere. The long, yellow, bacteria-ridden claws, the sharp, white fangs, the husky, grizzled bodies, the fact that when they eat you, you're still alive. These bears are very opportunistic. Now, this incident with Aubrey happened a couple years previous in this small town near Traverse City, Michigan. Jenny and her boyfriend, Aiden, were together for a couple of years. Aiden was 1 year out of high school at 19 years old. Jenny was only 17, a senior, a petite girl. This attack happened in 2005. She sort of did herself up like those girls back then. You know, the sort of retro vintage look or whatever, trying to look like Avril Lavigne or whatever, is kind of what this Jenny chick was like. A bit materialistic, very petite, as I said. And this happened on Halloween of all times, which is why I'm making this video today. Is Halloween, and I'm telling you all, be careful out there. Tend to your children, because this one is a harrowing one. And it's not just the human predators that you got to worry about on this day. So Aiden was kind of like me, actually. He was about my height, 6'4". Sort of muscular guy. I mean, I wouldn't think he was as muscular as me, but like I said, he was only 19 years old. But he was sort of able-bodied, if you will. The guy sort of went through a phase. He listened to alternative music. He grew his hair long, which is how it was during this bear attack. I almost don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you just gotta laugh the horror away. As I do during making these videos sometimes. You just gotta laugh. To laugh the horror away, because what we're about to get into is absolutely horrendous. But that's how Aiden was. The long hair, the alternative music, the playing of the guitar, the sort of denim outfits he would wear, I don't know. But he was a tall guy, and he wanted to go trick-or-treating on Halloween just for nostalgia, right? His buddies, they're all grown up at this point. They're all dating different chicks. Some of them were single. Some of them were potheads. So he didn't really have much to do on Halloween, but he was seeing Jenny, of course. And Jenny, being only about 5'5", and very skinny, like I said, she probably could have pulled herself out of like being, or pull it off as if she's a kid, you know? So they decided to go trick-or-treating. Jenny dressed up as a little angel Little tiny dress, little whatever the thing is on the head, little halo on the head. Her glasses, her sparkly lipstick, her long, straight, dark brown hair. Dressed up like an angel, okay? Aiden was just wearing his denim jacket, this and that, and he would actually carry a pillow sack, which is what he put the candy in, because he wanted to get some candy for free. This must have been a cheapo. So they went knocking at houses. Jenny would go up to the door, ding, 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 trick or treat. Somebody come out, oh, what a cute little angel you are. She'd be like, thank you, and then she'd sort of hold out her bag. And boom, they'd put it in the bag, and then she'd go on her way. And there were a couple houses that commented, how old are you? Just thinking, she's a little old for this. But, I mean, for the most part, people just went with it. It was no problem. Now, in this town in Upper Michigan, there were a lot of blocks, some trees, some seclusion, some alleys, and they started making their way toward the lake. Now, toward the lake, people had more money. People were more wealthy, who lived up by the waterfront. So the houses, there's more space between them. Okay, so there was often a lot of thick woods between the homes. And as they ventured further into like the rich territory, the space between the houses got even more thick and vast with wilderness, right? So they went to a couple of those houses, these long driveways, these houses that just looked like castles. Some of them had Halloween decors, some of them did not. Some of them were gated with a long driveway, and some of them had the gates open with Halloween decorations and welcome signs and trick or treat if you dare. So they'd walk down those winding paths, going up to the big gate doors, knocking on the door with its knocker, boom, 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 the iron knocker. Little gargoyle knocker, boom, 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 boom. And somebody would answer it with some extravagant outfit. Young, old, rich, wise. These people just handed out like full-size candy bars, right? So Jenny would open up her bag and they throw big old candy bars in there, this and that. So they kept doing that. And at this point at Halloween night, it was about 11:30 p.m. Back in those days, people would trick or treat later. Let me know in the comments if you're from those eras. I mean, I am. I went trick-or-treating in the 90s, early 2000s, and people would trick-or-treat later. It was a big deal. Nowadays, they go at like 6 p.m. and they're done by like 7 if they go at all. What are folks even doing for Halloween? Let me know in the comments below what you're doing for Halloween. And what are they even doing? Are they even trick-or-treating anymore? But in this time, mid-2000s, it was still hot, okay? They started to take notice how, people were shutting off their lights. It was just getting too late. Jenny and Aiden both had their pillowcases just filled with candy, and some good candy. Big old king-size Butterfingers, king-size Musketeer bars, Skittle bags, etc. I don't even know what Aiden was planning for that night. He had little Jenny all dressed up, I don't want to get into that, but I'm just trying to paint the picture for you guys. I think Aiden was sort of getting in, I don't know. He was, they wanted to go spend more time together, It was Halloween after all. Maybe they were going to go drink or something. I don't know. They weren't of age, but that's just, what some kids would do. So they started walking back to their car. Aiden drove a 98 Subaru Outback. They parked it on this community parking, this little park that was set up not far. And then you go down the road and there was all those big homes with wilderness on both sides. You'd have to walk like a couple hundred feet to get from one house to the next. So they were walking back to their car. And Jenny had to go potty, okay? Aiden said, can't you hold it? She's like, no, I really gotta go. She's like, all that Gatorade we were drinking on the way here, I just gotta go. He's like, okay, fine, let me hold your candy bag. So he held her candy bag, and Jenny, in her little heels and angel outfit, hands her little halo cap to Aiden, and she goes sort of weaving through the woods, right? Aiden's waiting on the side of the road. It's very dark. There was like a street light way down there, but this woods was dark. And like I said, beyond it was the lakefront, all right? The beautiful Great Lake, Lake Michigan, I believe is what it was. Which is like an ocean. You can see as far as you look out there. And you can't see the other side. It's like the ocean. Beautiful dunes, etc. So what they did, Aiden waited there with the bags of candy as little Jenny started weaving through the weeds to go potty. She finds a spot by a big thick tree, sort of just turns to it and squats down to go whiz, right? Somewhere in that, it happened. Aiden heard the treacherous screams of horror. Jenny sounded like a little bunny rabbit getting grabbed by a cat. You ever heard that before? You know, just shrieks and squeaks of terror and agony. Aiden heard that and instantly he dropped the bags. Jenny! He shouted. He heard tussling. And then the scream stopped. Jenny! To no answer. There's a black bear that came upon this young woman and ravaged her body. It grabbed her by her shoulder and started dragging her deeper into the dense woods. Now, there were dunes. Like I said, this is Lake Michigan, okay? You ever heard of Sleeping Bear Dunes? Look it up. It wasn't quite to that extent, but I mean, there were sand dunes. You know, it's just how it is along the shore of Lake Michigan. The bear, so it was still wooded in this area. It wasn't quite that close to the water. But because the sand dunes, there were a lot of like sandy hills and stuff with trees. It started dragging her down a hill. And Aiden could hear it. And then he heard it. Aiden, help! Aiden dropped the Halloween bags and started dashing through the woods toward those nightmarish screams of agony. He saw the creature. He saw its neck down low, its mouth over Jenny's shoulder, her dress all ripped up to shreds because it was just dragging her through the thistles and thorns. And it looked up at Aiden as Aiden shouted at it, "Get off our bear!" And it snarled. And then it looked back down and grabbed her by the neck and turned and started running with her, galloping away like a horse. Aiden ran and ran toward it, and he was managed to catch up with it. And he actually kicked the bear. He jump kicked it like a wrestler. Okay? And that's when the bear turned on him. It just started digging into him. Aiden couldn't help himself. He tried to fight it. He's like, ah! He tried to fight it with his hands. Boom! Just punching it, hurting his hand. The bear swatted him across the face, just massive gashes across his face and chest and neck. Grabbed him by his thigh and started just thrashing him back and forth like a pit bull. Jenny was laying there desolate, begging for help. Ah, no, help. She was helpless. Aiden started grabbing the bear with his hands. He couldn't punch it anymore. One of his hands was fractured. His face bleeding, his chest bleeding, his neck bleeding. He started grabbing clumps of fur out of this bear and just ripping them out. Boom, 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 boom. And then he made his way around its skull. The bear was biting him around the neck at this point, just right here on his shoulder, actually. Jaws wrapped around his shoulder. And Aiden was feeling for its head and just found its eyeballs and dug his fingers into its eye sockets. Both of them at the same time. Now, Aiden took martial arts training back when he was a kid. He learned how to fight like a chimp. If you ever look up how chimpanzees fight, it is dirty, okay? Yeah. They'll disable your freaking manhood intentionally. They'll rip the damn thing off. All right, that's how these things function. Now, Aiden wasn't trying to go down there on the bear, but all I'm saying is he gouged its eyes. He buried his index finger and his middle finger into its eyeball socket, okay? The bear pulled back and bellowed, oh, and pulling its fingers out of its eye sockets. And then it went at him again. Boom! It knocks him feet away. Then his body just sort of ragdolls next to Jenny. Jenny's laying there on her back, just all spread out, sprawling. Oh, Gilly! Just screaming at the bear. Aiden manages to get to his feet. The bear staggered. It's breathing heavy. Just got in a bad fight. And it got fingers poked into its eyeball sockets. Its eyeballs were still intact. I'm pretty sure it could still see. But it had diminished vision, obviously, from that. Maybe temporarily. From just the vast irritation. Aiden grabbed a stick and started swinging around. Get out of here, bear! Get out of here, bear! Get out of here, bear! And the bear hesitated. Looked one way. Looked the other way. I heard Jenny a little shriek. Ah! It looked over at Jenny. It looked up at Aiden. With that big stick just swinging it around like a maniac. And that's when the bear turned and walked away. Aiden had to throw Jenny over his shoulder, her mangled carcass. Aiden limped back to the car. Rushed her to the hospital in the area. Called the Popo, called the DNR, whatever. They contacted the DNR. The Rangers go searching for the damn bear. They never found it. What a horrific Halloween night this was in 2006 or 2005. Okay? Horrendous. They survived. Both were scarred, and the scars remain to this day. Jenny has scars around her face and her neck and her shoulder. But they survived. Aiden still has pain in his hand from punching the bear in the skull as hard as he freaking could. Big gouges on his shoulder blade. Warrior scars, I guess one could say. But anyway, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this bear attack? What could have been done to prevent it? I mean, carry some protection, He should have had some protection on, but he didn't. Hopefully he learned from that day. And let me know, what are you doing for Halloween? Be careful if you're going out there. You never know, especially if you live in an area like I do in Michigan, where it's very wooded, and you never know what's lurking around the corner. Anyway, like the video, and I'll see you all tomorrow with more chilling tales from the Iceman.